Hey, Shalom, Makim. First and foremost, call hello, Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahushua, Ba'ashim, Rakahakwadash. And once again, double honors go out to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Salutations also go out to the fellow Akim that are out there on the highways and the byways, pushing the truth across four corners of this earth. All right, while we try to wake up the remaining hopeful elect. This is Nama with the DC Camp Branch of Great Millstone, back for another video. And in this one, basically, this is an Edomite, who appears to be, that's just fed up with his people. And he's going to give you the rundown, the history, basically the inside, from behind enemy lines, narration. um, and it's something that we've always told you, but again, it's best to hear it from them folks. And what this, of course, brings to mind is Psalms 64 and 8, which I will read after this, but this is copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statutes that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use, because I am, nor do I intend to profit off of this. It's just a tool. All right. Let's see. All right, so what you have here, I will expose everything to the blacks. What secrets no one tells. All right, here we go. In fact, let me just, since I quoted it, let's go ahead and, well, I'm already there. Okay, cool. This is Psalm 64, Psalms chapter 64, verse 8. So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away. And after you hear this, yeah, and you have to wonder, after everything everyone has seen with how this so-called white man, this Edomite, because that's his biblical nationality, is Edom. By the way, they're the only ones that are referred to as a color, because Edom, out of one, is red, and that's what they are. They are not white, nowhere close to it, even though you have some pale ones still. It's making reference to that curse, that see-through skin where, the least little thing, what? That blood comes to the surface. All right, their tongue to fall, that is, consequences of their slanders. All right, Psalms 10 and 2. The wicked in his pride to persecute the poor, let them be taken on the vices that they have imagined. And yes, that's a prayer that we, because that is a prayer of King David. Psalms 31:16, make thy face to shine upon thy servant. Save me for thy mercy's sake. Just remember that when he's giving you the rundown of what they've been doing, the standard of beauty, because they are some really insecure pieces of shit. All right. And at the same time, to show you the hypocrisy, they go to great lengths to make themselves look at the people that they mocked. People like us. So here we go.
This young man has decided to go on a white rant. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have never seen a white person who does not like his people, you're about to see one today.
White people are extremely ugly. It's just a fact. White supremacists love to push beauty standards that favor white features. But let's be real. White people have historically been some of the ugliest people on earth.
No lies told there.
From pasty skin prone to wrinkles to historically inbred royal families to the sheer lack of symmetry in many white faces, there's a long, well-documented history of white people being objectively less attractive than other groups. White people wrinkle, sag, and develop skin damage faster than any other racial group.
Or that curse.
Studies show that white skin ages more rapidly due to lower levels of melanin, leading to sagging, sunspots, and earlier wrinkles. White women often get smoker's lines around their lips by their 30s, even if they don't smoke. Sun exposure damages collagen faster in white skin, which is why white people start to look like leather by middle age.
Oh,
Meanwhile, darker skinned people age like
Leatherface.
fine wine. Black, Latino, and Asian skin has natural UV protection, preventing rapid aging. This is why black celebrities like Pharrell and Angela Bassett look 30 years younger than their white counterparts. White people constantly mock others for their looks, but they're the only group that needs Botox by 35 to keep their face from falling apart. White European royalty married their cousins for centuries, leading to some of the most unattractive faces ever recorded. The Habsburg family of Spain and Austria became so inbred that they developed underbites, bulbous noses, and elongated skulls. King Charles II of Spain was so inbred that he couldn't even close his mouth properly. European monarchies kept marrying within their bloodline, leading to genetic disorders and deformed features. Even today, white rural populations have high rates of inbreeding. Studies show that rural white communities in Appalachia and Europe still have significant genetic overlap. The infamous blue Fugates of Kentucky were so inbred that their skin turned blue due to a genetic disorder. Meanwhile, most indigenous African and Asian societies practice genetic diversity through exogamy, marrying outside of close family ties. White people love to claim racial purity, but their obsession with keeping things...
Again, why do you think the scriptures say what they say? This is what we were supposed to do. This is how we were supposed to, this is why we were supposed to follow the law, statutes, and commandments laid down for us. All right? And you think of these so-called white people, these Edomites, well, Job 30 goes into that. They're the lowest of the low. You know, the base, practically, well, they're subhuman. The lowest of the low. What else can I say? Even what did Job say? Let's get that real quick. All right, because when he talks about inbred and stuff like that, Job did not even want them around his dogs. This is Job chapter 30. But now they that are younger than I have me in derision, because at this point, you know, what's the story of Job going into, how he was brought, you know, lost everything, right? So he was really in a lower state. And at this point, they were laughing at him. They had him in derision. They were mocking him. Whose fathers I would have disdained to have set with the dogs of my flock. Yea, whereto might the strength of their hands profit me, in whom old age was perished. For want and famine they were solitary. Again, he's talking about Edomites, so-called white people. Fleeing into the wilderness, in former time desolate and waste, who cut up mallows by the bushes, and juniper roots for their meat. They were driven forth from among men. They cried after them as after a thief. To dwell in the clefts of the valleys, in the caves of the earth. This is when they were driven up into the Caucasus Mountains and that realm. That's not their natural, was not their natural habitat. Edom was just below, well, let me get let's see, hold on. Yeah, Edom, hold on, let me put it in. All right. It's right around here. All right. Actually, in ancient maps, it's further down this way. All right. right around in here. We've got your home and let's see, right around here. I don't know why it's in this as well. Well, we'll go with it because it's not too far off. You got to remember, even though it looks that way, this region over here is not that many miles apart. Like if you were to get one of those legends where you got the ruler and stuff. So we'll go with this. You can see south east of the Dead Sea here, where you have was it Ammon above them or Moab? I think it was Moab. Uh, Directly to the north, and to their left here, you know, you had Israelite tribes and all that. So yeah, we'll go with that. But just to give you a and then they were chased up because of their ways way up. Let me shorten this. Way up in here, this bottleneck here. This is where they were chased up to, and this is where they began to populate and drive out Japheth. All right, eons ago, and then migrated west. I mean, it's a whole lot of info regarding that, and you got Armenia here, all that, you know. And then when you get these same peoples, where you get over here, Ukraine and all that, yeah, these are those same peoples, dirty, nasty, filthy. Yeah, here you Ukraine. See, you talking about some corrupt, run game on motherfuckers. You know, these are the same peoples. Romania, all this, they were known for running game on motherfuckers. All right, but these are these people. All right, and that's why we encourage you, before you so quick to condemn what we say, do your studying. All right, secular history, you need to know that when studying the scriptures. All right, here we go.
People love to claim racial purity, but their obsession with keeping things pure has just led to them looking weird, lumpy, and asymmetrical. Across history, society has viewed white features as undesirable or plain. In ancient
But they
times,
flipped
Africans,
everything.
Arabs, and Asians were seen as the height of beauty, while Europeans were seen as dull and unattractive. The earliest depictions of white travelers in Asia and Africa mock their pale skin and odd features. Even the Greeks and Romans admired African and Middle Eastern beauty, with many of their paintings and sculptures reflecting non-European ideals. Modern beauty studies show that white features are ranked lower. A global study on facial symmetry found that features associated with non-white populations were considered more attractive. White noses are often too big or too thin, making them look unnatural compared to the balanced features of other groups. White men, in particular, are often ranked as the least attractive group in global dating surveys. White people try to push Eurocentric beauty standards, while history and science prove their features have been considered subpar for centuries. White hair is thin, weak, and ages horribly. White people are more likely to go bald early.
That's why they need
White
all them
men often
products.
start balding in their 20s, while black and Asian men have full hairlines for decades. White hair is prone to split ends and damage, requiring tons of products to keep healthy. Meanwhile, black, indigenous, and Asian hair is naturally thicker, stronger, and healthier. White lips, noses, and eyes are either too extreme or too weak. Thin lips, weak chins, and large bulbous noses are common features among white Europeans. White people love to mock full lips, but white women spend billions on lip liners to look more ethnic. White eyes age the fastest, often developing crow's feet and deep bags decades before non-white people. White beauty standards have always been inconsistent and hypocritical. They mock black and Latino features, and then get surgery to look less white. White skin was historically seen as weak and unhealthy. In many non-European cultures, darker skin was seen as a sign of strength and resilience, while pale skin was seen as a sign of weakness. European aristocrats hid from the sun to avoid getting darker, but by the 20th century, white people started tanning because
Sun
they
dodgers.
realized they looked better with some color. Now, white people damage their skin just to look more ethnic. White people spend billions on tanning beds and fake tan products because their natural skin tone is seen as bland. Meanwhile, people with naturally darker skin don't have to risk skin cancer just to have a warm complexion. White people like to mock darker skin tones, then turn around and do everything they can to look less pale. The most common plastic surgeries among white women are to fix white features. Nose jobs to reduce long or narrow European noses. Lip fillers to get fuller lips like black and Latina women. Butt and hip implants to mimic non-white body types. Meanwhile, non-white women are naturally celebrated for their features. White women have to buy curves, lips, and tans, while black, Latina, and Middle Eastern women...
Let me stop it right there, because on the flip side of that, you've got a lot of Jakes, and that's includes, or to include, both Northern and Southern kingdoms. You notice, especially amongst the women, they want to get these blonde inlays, or just dye their hair blonde. Blue contacts, trying to adopt those recessive and inferior traits unto themselves. Skin bleaching, whitening. That's that poison of so-called white supremacy, of Edomite supremacy. And like I say, they flipped everything all upside down, as Isaiah 29:16 tells you. All right. Thou that turnest things upside down. Yeah, that's what they've done. But more and more you're seeing, as low as Jake has been, more and more, Salaki. Got to take this. All right, shalom. Back, finish out the video. Have to take care of what I have to take care of. So here we go.
Naturally have features that white women pay for. Look at early Hollywood actors and you'll see some of the most awkward faces ever. Audrey Hepburn, Bette Davis, and Katharine Hepburn were considered beautiful, despite looking average by today's standards.
Bette Davis
White
eyes.
stars like Steve Buscemi, Benedict Cumberbatch, and Adam Driver are proof that white beauty standards are weird. Meanwhile, non-white beauty icons have aged far better. Compare Angela Bassett to Madonna, or Denzel Washington to Brad Pitt. Black and brown stars look decades younger. White actors rely on surgery, tanning, and fillers just to keep up. White beauty standards were created out of insecurity, because deep down, white people have always known that they are the least naturally attractive group. Cope.
Who hurt you?
A moment of silence.
No lies told, but
I am literally, at this point, I want to show you what the comment section is saying. Even white people are confused themselves. Oh my goodness. Someone is saying this man is not here on his own people. He has woken up from the lies, propaganda, and programming that the evil elites who run society and make rules and laws we have to blindly follow. I said, bro, got personal beef with his own people. I know, right? Hey, yo, what did white people do to you? I mean, you ain't wrong, but damn, how do you keep a serious face? And you know, he even responds to the comment section, bro. He just kept going. What the hell? No lie detected, but why are you roasting them? Why people like...
got the motherfuckers on a spit, turning that motherfucker real slow.
More and more. Like his TikTok is all about his own people. Like he literally just doesn't roll with whites. Yeah.
White people are obsessed with capitalism. I swear, they won't shut up.
Now, this has to go to what's going on right now. All right, this is how they cut their own throats. What's that? What's that expression? What did it come out of? Was it Milton? Shit, I can't remember. Cutting off, you don't know, spite your face, something like that. But listen to this.
About it.
Just
White
to get at us.
Entire identity is wrapped up in capitalism and private property like a security blanket that they refuse to let go of, even when it actively hurts them. They treat wealth accumulation like it's a moral good, defend billionaires who exploit them, and prioritize property over
Like what's
human
going on
lives.
now.
While many cultures throughout history have seen land, wealth, and resources as communal or at least socially managed, white societies took greed and hoarding to new extremes. White Europeans didn't just believe in private property, they justified stealing it from everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
The doctrine of discovery in 1493
Damn
gave
Catholic
white
Church.
Christians the right to claim land that wasn't theirs, basically legalizing global land theft. The Enclosure Acts in England between the 16 and 1800s forced peasants off of communal land so white elites could privatize everything. The U.S. Homestead Act of 1862 gave white settlers millions of acres of stolen indigenous land for free, while indigenous people were slaughtered for resisting. White people went across the world saying, "This is mine," while ignoring the people already living there. Australia, stolen. South Africa, stolen. India, the Americas, the Caribbean, colonized and looted. Meanwhile, indigenous and African cultures had long-standing communal land management systems, until white people imposed artificial property rights. White people obsess over...
Let me hold on. I'm going to look for something real quick. Salaki, I'm back. I was looking for when he mentioned what he was mentioning about how they, they've spread like I used to call Edomites, so-called white people, fleshy viruses, because that's just how they act. But I was looking for the movie. It was a Western back in the 90s called Quigley Down Under, Tom Selleck. And there's a scene in there what they did to the Aborigines. The setting was supposed to be Australia. And you can look this up. Again, secular history. There's a scene in the movie where they had forced the natives out and they had no place to go. They were over, at the edge of a cliff. And these motherfuckers just kept shooting, and finally there's nowhere else to go but over the cliff. And I mean, it was a lot of them just, I can't find that scene. Maybe they scrubbed it from the internet. I don't, you wonder why, right? But, yeah, that's, fucked up scene. But, damn.
over land and property because their entire history is built on taking it from others. White Americans, in particular, will vote against their own interests to protect capitalism. Working class white people
Like now.
constantly vote for politicians who cut their wages, gut their health care, and raise their taxes.
Fire them from their jobs.
White conservatives hate welfare, even though white people make up the largest group of welfare recipients.
How about that?
They scream about socialism, but then demand bailouts for their farms, businesses, and banks.
Yeah.
They worship billionaires who exploit them.
Hypocritical motherfuckers.
Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Donald Trump are treated like gods, even though they exploit workers and hoard wealth. White people will defend CEOs making 500 times their workers' salary while complaining about poor people having iPhones. Meanwhile, other cultures focus on mutual aid, cooperative economies, and community wealth building, instead of extreme individualism. White people's obsession with capitalism is literally killing them and everyone else, and yet they defend it at all costs. White Americans would rather let people die than question property rights. Homelessness is at record levels, yet there are more empty houses than unhoused people. White landlords...
Let me stop there because here in D.C., motherfucker just issued an edict, more or less, to the mayor of D.C., Muriel Bowser. Clean up these homeless encampments, or they're going to do it. Yet not addressing the reason why these people are homeless. Make that make sense.
Raise rents while crying about how hard it is to own property and keep up with inflation. Squatters are treated worse than corporate landlords who buy entire neighborhoods just to leave them empty. The police exist mainly to protect white people's obsession with private property. Cops will kill
Enforce
someone over a stolen
segregation.
candy bar, but let billionaires commit tax fraud daily.
Yeah.
During protests, white conservatives scream about property damage instead of caring about police brutality. White settlers justified genocide by saying indigenous people didn't properly use their land.
Yep.
As
Gad.
if that excused stealing it. White people's fetishization of private property is one of the most morally bankrupt aspects of their culture. And everywhere white people have gone, they've imposed capitalism, usually through violence. White Europeans destroyed self-sustaining economies in Africa, Asia, and the Americas to force people into dependence on capitalism. Colonialism drained resources from non-white nations while white elites got rich. The U.S. has overthrown dozens of democratically elected leaders in Latin America and Africa just to keep global capitalism running. Even today, white-led corporations exploit the global south. White CEOs profit off of child labor in the Congo, sweatshops in Bangladesh, and land grabs in Brazil. White countries control global financial institutions like the IMF and the World Bank, trapping developing nations in debt. When non-white countries try socialist or cooperative economic models, white governments call it a threat to democracy. White capitalism never actually promotes free markets. It enforces global white dominance. White people have convinced themselves that making money without producing anything is normal. Stock markets, hedge funds, real estate speculation. White people love getting rich without actually working. They created the concept of middlemen and consultants who contribute nothing but get paid millions. Crypto and NFTs. White finance bros made up fake assets just to scam each other. Meanwhile, actual productive labor is undervalued. Teachers, nurses, and factory workers get scraps, while white finance bros make billions moving numbers on a screen. Gig economy jobs like Uber and DoorDash are modern-day sharecropping, yet white libertarians praise them as entrepreneurship. White people's version of capitalism isn't about producing wealth. It's about hoarding, gatekeeping, and profiting off of other people's labor. White capitalists also know they're losing control, which is why they're getting desperate. Global capitalism is crumbling, and white elites are terrified of wealth redistribution. They're gutting workers' rights, crushing unions, and inflating the housing market to keep their grip on power. They push AI and automation not for progress, but to eliminate jobs and keep people poor. White conservatives would rather destroy society than let go of capitalism. They'd rather die of medical debt than support universal health care. They'd rather see climate change burn the planet than regulate corporations. They'd rather cling to their failing white-dominated capitalism than admit that other economic systems might work better. White people's obsession with capitalism and private property is so deep, they'd rather burn the world than give up control. The obsession isn't just irrational, it's also destroying their society.
There you go. No lies told. None whatsoever. So, what would you call an organism like that? That's, well, let me get this real quick. Somehow I lost it. It's not only a terror to everyone, let alone himself. That's why I call him fleshy virus. I hope you see that now. This is Ciroc. In fact, let's start up. All right, let's start up earlier. Start at 3. Riches are not commonly for a niggard. Now, the most infamous niggard that we all grew up watching, unfortunately, is someone that all of us know. Let me get the definition, see if you can guess it. Niggard, a stingy, grasping person. A miser. Who's the most infamous miser we all know? Scrooge, right? Ebenezer Scrooge. A person meanly stingy and covetous. One who spends grudgingly, a stingy, parsimonious fellow. But what he's describing goes even... Well, let's get some synonyms. Let's see. And it might, instead of me going all the way out, it might, let's see, let me get some synonyms, because there's one I'm looking for. Related, let's see. Nah, I just thought of something. Let's go. When I say there's nothing worse than a covetous man, that's Habakkuk 2nd chapter. Avarice, immoderate desire for wealth. Cupidity, an excessive or inordinate desire of gain. Is that not what we're talking about here? Greediness for wealth. Covetousness, cupidity, similar. So who is the scriptures talking about? Let's go to, let's keep going. Riches are not commonly for a niggard, and what should an envious man do with money? He that gathereth by defrauding his own soul gathereth for others, that shall spend his goods riotously. He that is evil to himself, to whom will he be good? He shall not take pleasure in his goods. Let's go. There is none worse than he that envieth himself, and this is a recompense of his wickedness. Is that not what we're talking about? Yeah, he hates himself so much. All right. And if he doeth good, he doeth it unwillingly. And at the last he will declare his wickedness. The envious man hath a wicked eye. He turneth away his face and despiseth men. Wow. When we tell you these scriptures are on point, that's what we mean. A covetous man's eye is not satisfied with his portion, and the iniquity of the wicked drieth up his soul. A wicked eye envieth his bread, and he is a niggard at his table. All right. My son, according to thy ability, do good to thyself, and give the Most High his due offering. All right. You know where we got to go. In fact, I'll just use the arrow here. Got to go to Sirach 10. What does it say? Pride is hateful before the Most High and man, and by both doth one commit iniquity. Because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. And I'm going to skip down, because when I said fleshy virus, I was quite serious. And this is what he has been, a plague upon the earth, right? What does verse 10 say? The physician, which is Yahweh Shai, cutteth off a long disease. And he that is today a king, tomorrow shall die. Yeah. He well, I talk about Habakkuk, 2nd chapter. What does it say? Righteous shall live by faith. All right. Let's see. I will start at 4. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him. And that's usually about what? Pride. The proudest people. That's why his favorite bird is the eagle, right? He is a proud, yea, also. I'll just read 4 again. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. Yea, also, because he transgresseth by wine, his philosophy, his doctrine, democracy, for an example. He is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, meaning he can't get enough, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. Why? To exploit him. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, Woe to him that increases that which is not his? How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay, debt. Ibatyath. Shall they not rise up suddenly, that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be for booties unto them? James 5th chapter, right? Because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee, because of men's blood, and for the violence of the land, of the city, and of all that dwelleth therein. Woe to him that coveteth an evil covetousness to his house, that he may set his nest on high, that he may be delivered from the power of evil. Thou hast consulted shame to thy house by cutting off many people, and hast sinned against thy soul. Let me skip on down, because what's now, this is why he wants history, true history, to not be taught. Why? Because how did he get all of this wealth, all this notoriety? How did he come about it? This is Habakkuk 2:15. Woe unto him that giveth his neighbor drink, that putteth thy bottle to him, and makest them drunken also, that thou mayest look on their nakedness. 16. Thou art filled with shame for glory. Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cup of the Most High's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be on thy glory. Because this is the time where he's being exposed for the piece of shit that he really is. And he has to go. That's why I read Sirach 10 and 14. That long disease that's getting ready to be cut away, put out of the earth. Isaiah 14:21, he's not going to rise again after that, nor his descendants. It's over. This is as good as it gets for this piece of shit. This is it. Their coveted America. Stolen waters are sweet indeed, along with everything else. The biggest crime scene. And they tell you crime doesn't pay. All right, with that, once again, I'll put the link. White man exposes everything about his people, and this happens. Oh, man. How about that? You're done, Esau. You're done. So with that, once again, I hope whoever views this is edified. Hey, that's what we do here at Great Millstone. So until the next video, hey, shalom.